Alright, my work is done. I've detailed the entire city. I've got over 250 locations. I've got over 400 NPC. I've got over 100 different plot hooks for my players to engage with. I'm ready to go. Oh no. My players are going to get bored in the first 10 minutes and go to the mountains, aren't they? Today, we're going to be talking about Absalom, the City of Lost Omens for Pathfinder 2nd Edition on this episode of The Local Disaster Tour Guide. Hey everyone, Future Mark here. So I wanted to drop in and do a shout out really quick for UNICEF's Creators for Peace charitable drive that they are doing this week. Now, obviously this is a gaming channel where we talk about fun gaming related stuff and try not to dive too headlong into all of the crazy and depressing stuff that can sometimes be happening in the world. But as I am sure that many of you are aware, the situation in Ukraine right now is terrible, and the refugees that are running from this war and from all of the dangers associated with that kind of situation, they are in desperate need of help, and sometimes it is difficult to know how to help. Well, right now, UNICEF is pushing a drive called Creators for Peace, where they are encouraging YouTubers to highlight the work that they do for refugees, especially for children, and encourage people to come together and to donate to help the children that have been displaced by the current crisis. I will put a link to UNICEF and where you can donate down in the description of this video. UNICEF's mission is focused especially on helping children, and one of the reasons that I decided to go ahead and support Creators for Peace is part of their mission is supporting children with disabilities. Longtime fans of this channel may know that I have actually worked with the IDD community, individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and so seeing a charity that is mindful of the needs of some of the most vulnerable children out there is something that is very close to my heart. And I took the time to check up on UNICEF and some of the work that they are doing, and they have the resources and training necessary to help children with disabilities in and around Ukraine where all of this crazy stuff is going on right now. By the way, UNICEF has a 3-star rating on Charity Navigator, including a 97% score on transparency and accountability, which shows that they manage their finances well, so this is a safe place where if you want to donate, you can donate and know that your money will be put to the purpose that you intend. Now, allow me to say, as someone who has worked in the nonprofit sector in the past, I know firsthand just how much a small donation really does. When a lot of people come together, even if one person can't do much, their combined strength can accomplish amazing things, and I have seen groups of people come together to work miracles when they put their mind to it. So even if you feel like you don't have much to give, if you have something you would like to give, I encourage you to check out UNICEF. I think that this is a good way that you can be involved in helping with this situation. Thank you for putting up with the interruption in your regular video. I'll let you get back to the regularly scheduled content now. Hello travelers and tourists, my name is Mark and I am the local disaster tour guide. That's right, I am a storyteller here to ask all of the important questions about the latest Paizo products. Like, for example, Paizo. The stuffed Gorgon that you have illustrated on page 222, when are you going to release that as a plushie? Because my toddler needs one of those like yesterday. Welcome to a journey through the fantastic world of TTRPGs like Pathfinder and Starfinder. Today, we're going to be doing a mini product review on the latest setting book for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Absalom, City of Lost Omens. If you're familiar with the Galarian setting, Absalom is the city at the heart of the world, and this book has almost 400 pages of setting information to help you explore this amazing city. This book is set up as a resource for game masters, detailing over 250 locations, over 400 NPCs, and offering a variety of different plot hooks that you can use as a storyteller to help your players dive into this amazing city. The book also comes with a full color map that you can use whenever your players are running around Absalom, and is filled to the brim with details about the city's culture and history, and different fascinating aspects of what life would be like for adventurers running around this town. So, how does this monster of a book hold up? And is this something that game masters can get some pretty good use out of at their gaming table? Well, today I'm going to do a mini product review, offering some comments and some criticisms about this book, and hopefully giving you some insight into whether or not this is something you might like to add to your collection. Now, a couple of quick things up front. This review was not requested in any way. This is a book that I bought for my own gaming collection, and the views that are expressed in this video are entirely my own. Paizo did not pay for this review in any way. And as always, as with any review that I do on this channel, please remember that the best review is to try something for yourself. These opinions are my own, and I'm just some random guy on the internet. If you can try something before you buy it, check it out at your game store, borrow it from a friend. First-hand experience is always going to give you a better picture of whether or not a product is right for you. Still, I would like to offer you a big picture overview of what Absalom, City of Lost Omens is, and maybe give you some insight into what it has to offer. Now, really quick, this is a mini review, so I won't be going as in-depth as I do with other reviews on this channel. Part of that is I just had to trim my shooting schedule recently because of life events, and I didn't have quite as much time to devote to the script on this. And the other part of it is, this is honestly one of those books where I could dive in, go deep, and spend way too much time on this book, or I could step back and give you a larger, big picture view of what this book is. And truthfully, I think that that big picture view is probably the most helpful in evaluating this book and its place at the gaming table. Still, if you're interested in a deeper dive into Absalom, City of Lost Omens, let me know, and if you have any specific questions, put those in the comments below, and I might swing back around to this product at a later date. Anyways, let's get started. Alright, if you're a fan of this channel, you know that with all of my reviews, I like to begin at the end, give you my overall thoughts on a product, and then work my way through the review to help you understand how I came to that conclusion. And even though this is a mini review, I'm still going to use that format. My overall thoughts for Absalom, City of Lost Omens is this is a strong quality game master product, and I give it an overall grade of a C+. Now, I realize that a C+ might be a little bit of a controversial grade to give this book, so let me defend my choice very quickly. Absalom, City of Lost Omens gets the exact same grade that I gave to another very similar book last year. Last year, I gave Lost Omens Manga Expanse a C+ as well. Now, both of these books are the same thing. They are deep dives into the lore of a specific region inside of the Galarian setting, and they are filled with all kinds of hooks and information related to that particular part of, well, the core setting for Pathfinder 2e. And, as I said last year, I'll say again for Absalom, City of Lost Omens, this is a good book. I enjoy it. I think it's very well put together. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. And I think that game masters can get a lot of good information from this book. But, much like Mwangi Expanse was last year, City of Lost Omens is a niche product. This is a deep dive into one region of one campaign setting, meaning that ultimately the overall utility of this book is heavily dependent on the question, are you, as a game master, going to use the City of Absalom? If the answer is yes, then you'll get a ton of mileage out of this book, but if the answer is no, you might not ever use this book at all. And because Absalom, City of Lost Omens is a niche product, that makes it kind of the definition of a C-tier product, but I give it that C+ grade because I think that this is a very strong example of how you can do a C-tier product well. So I hope you feel like I'm not beating up on this book too much. Now before we dive into what this product includes, I do want to emphasize one very important point. I do feel like Absalom, City of Lost Omens is a Game Master product. I don't feel like this is a product that a player is going to want to pick up. Yes, there's a little bit of player content in the back of this book, but it's not very much. You can get that content on Archives of Nethys if you really want it. This book feels like something that is designed for and intended for the storyteller. But in any case, when you open up this monster of a book, you're going to find some incredible deep dives into, well, as the title says, Absalom, the city at the heart of the Golarion setting. You'll find a section on the city of Absalom itself, detailing its history and many of the factions inside of it. Then you'll get a number of different sections detailing the different areas inside of the city or immediately surrounding it. That includes the Ascendant Courts, the Coins, the Docks, Eastgate, the Foreign Quarter, the Ivy District, the Petal District, the Precipice Quarter, the Puddles, Westgate, the Wise Quarter, the Undercity, the Walls, Gates, and Keeps, and the Outskirts. After that, you get an NPC glossary detailing a bunch of NPCs that you can meet throughout the city of Absalom. And then finally you get 7 pages labeled The Adventurer's Toolbox. And that, I hope, explains why I am not deep diving this book, because that is way too many chapters for me to try to dig through. Just know that all of those chapters are packed full of interesting and useful information as a storyteller. Now, obviously this book is structured in such a way that it is intended for game masters, and it is intended to offer game masters a variety of information about the setting and about the characters that inhabit the setting, so that you can easily spin stories inside of the city. But let's step back a bit and ask a big question. What is the primary strength of Absalom, the City of Lost Omens? Well, there is a lot of good stuff in this book, but the number one thing that I think you as a game master can potentially get out of this product is the absurd number of story hooks that this book offers you. Listen, there is a ton of cool stuff in this book, and I could go on at length about all of the things that this book does well, but one of the really interesting things in the way they structure this book is they have adventure hook after adventure hook after adventure hook that you as a storyteller can take and can spin into different narratives for your players to, well, experience. Let me show you. I can open this book and have pretty good odds of finding an adventure hook on the very first page I open. As you can see on this page, there are 2 sidebars, and both of these sidebars give you a brief description of a scenario that could turn into an adventure hook. They are entitled Smoke and Mirrors, or All Politics is Local. Next page over, I've got an example called Copyright Infringement. If I jump to a different section of the book, I can find an adventure hook called Exclusive Invitation. I'll be honest, I gave up trying to count all of the adventure hook sidebars in this book, and I am estimating that there are probably somewhere around 130 to 150 sidebars that a game master could turn into adventure hooks in this book, not to mention the 250 locations that are detailed and the over 400 NPCs that are detailed, all of which also have the potential to become an adventure hook. One of the craziest things about this product is, as a storyteller, I feel like you could easily generate an entire 1 to 20 campaign set just in the city of Absalom using just the different adventure hooks they present in this book, and maybe something like the NPC battle cards. Paizo crammed a ton of content into this book, and most of it is focused on how you, as a storyteller, can use Absalom in your games to create interesting adventures. It's genuinely well done. But no book is perfect, and I do think it is important to stop and talk about some of the weaknesses of this product as well. And I'm not going to focus in, at least not yet, on the weakness you probably expect, which is the abysmal lack of crunch. There is only 7 pages of crunch in this book. The Adventurer's Toolbox is not much of a toolbox, but we'll get back to that because I think there is low-key a larger problem with this book that is worth addressing, which is cross-reference overload. Okay, so stick with me for a second. One of the strengths of this product is Paizo really took the time to set up this book in a way to be useful for storytellers. So, for example, if I open up this book and take a look at one of the locations listed in the book, for example, Castle Blackrose, at the end of the section on Castle Blackrose, it tells me all of the NPCs in this book that are specifically associated with that location, allowing me to quickly and easily cross-reference them. And if I were to turn to the NPC section, while they don't give us full stat blocks for the NPCs, they do take the time to give us a class and a level and a lot of quick reference information that can allow you as a storyteller to quickly fill out the information associated with those NPCs. For example, Lord Ovid of House Blackrose is listed as a neutral human ranger level 10. So, in addition to the story hooks related to Castle Blackrose and one of the NPCs occupying that location, you also have a guide to help you quickly generate any statistics you might need. That's a positive. But Paizo kind of went overboard on the cross-referencing in this book. They wanted this to be useful for game masters, but they almost made it too useful. I don't know if that's a thing. Well, okay, let me give you an example. In one portion of the book, they give you a master list of every location inside of Absalom City of Lost Omens. And then, a few pages later, they give you another list of every location in Absalom City of Lost Omens, but this time it's sorted by type of location. Do I really need 2 master lists of locations? Probably not. And that's one thing you may discover as you look through this book, is that a lot of space is taken up with these cross-references, with these different Game Master shortcuts that Paizo has added. It's not that each individual offering is necessarily bad, but it's that they did so much of it that it feels like the book lost space that could have been used for other more interesting things. Like, for example, the rather abysmal amount of crunch in this book. Most of the 7 pages in the Adventurer's Toolbox is dedicated to the Azarketi ancestry. And I have noted elsewhere that I feel like it took them too long to get around to printing the actual base Azarketi ancestry, but I do walk away from this book a little bit frustrated that I only get the Azarketi ancestry. I have noted in some of my other review videos that I'm a little disappointed that the Shuni ancestry has only been printed so far in an adventure path and has not been published in any of the larger books associated with Pathfinder 2e. And as far as I know, I could be wrong about this, but I think in terms of Galarian lore, the only established Shuni settlement in the Galarian setting is on Starstone Isle. So this would have been an opportune time to release the information on the Shuni ancestry. Or, for a new example, at several points in Absalom City of Lost Omens, they reference the fact that there are a lot of diplomatic dealings with the Minotaurs that live on the Starstone Isle as well. And there's even some cool Minotaur artwork that you can find in this book. Paizo, you teased me with Minotaurs as a playable race, and then didn't give me Minotaurs as a playable race. I gotta complain about that. It feels like with this book, Paizo went so all in on the Game Master focused content and the Game Master usability of this book that they ended up losing space that I think could have been used for really engaging content. In fact, this book kind of feels like Paizo switched their focus in the middle of making this book. The Adventure Toolbox is so small, so minor, so limited that you walk away wondering if Paizo even needed to include it. Was this a holdover from an earlier version of this book? Paizo did delay the release of Absalom, City of Lost Omens. Was there an earlier version of this product that was more of a mixture of Game Master and player content? And did Paizo switch their focus and decide to push this book more heavily in a Game Master direction? I can't say for sure, but the Adventurer Toolbox at the end does feel weird and a little bit off balance, and it does make me wonder. But I will say this, I do think it opens up an interesting possibility for this line of books going forward. I feel like the Lost Omens line has struggled since the launch of Pathfinder 2e to really find its place in Paizo's publishing line. Sometimes it feels like content that is intended specifically for players. Sometimes it feels like content that is intended specifically for game masters. But more often than not, it feels like this mess and mix of the two that is struggling to find an identity. And I think that Absalom, City of Lost Omens offers an interesting possibility. I think that Paizo could almost split this line along two axes and publish some books with a clear and distinct emphasis on Game Master content, much like this book, and then publish companion books that are focused more on the player side of things. So, you have Absalom, City of Lost Omens, that is a Game Master focused book, and then you could have another Lost Omens book that is also set in Absalom, that comes with a lot of player-focused content, new gear, new spells, new options, maybe even new archetypes that characters could take. And then, Paizo, did you already figure this out? Yeah, I think you see where I'm going here. I actually like Absalom, City of Lost Omens because it is very focused on the Game Master side of the equation, and I think it is very useful for Game Masters, but I almost feel like they should have just taken the player content from this book and stuck it in another book somewhere else and just let this book be a Game Master resource. Use some of that extra space to give us more NPC stat blocks, more monster stat blocks, maybe even a couple of mini adventures that a Game Master could run for their players. I think Paizo could turn their setting books into fantastic Game Master resources and then use other Lost Omen books, like the Grand Bazaar, to explore the player side of the equation and give us that deep dive mechanical crunch that a lot of people are looking for. The earlier attempts to mix these two things inside of the Lost Omens line has resulted in some weaker products overall, and I think Paizo might be moving in a clearer delineation between the two. And to be honest, I think that is a good direction. So, I like Absalom, City of Lost Omens. I think it's a fantastic Game Master product. And I think it's a good indication that Paizo is getting a better picture of what they want to do with this particular product line overall. But, let me turn the conversation over to you. What do you think? Have you had a chance to take a look at Absalom, City of Lost Omens? And if so, what are your thoughts about this product? If you haven't had a chance to see this product yet, do you have any specific questions you would like to ask me? If so, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. You can check out my free Discord and my Patreon, both linked in the video description. And don't forget to do all of the YouTube stuff. If you enjoyed this video, like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Have a wonderful day.